The 2019 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship from the Rowrah circuit in Cumbria. Our first race of the weekend will be the MiniGP 50s. Only 28 points cover the top four in the standings, from Harrison Crosby in first down to Kyle Payne in fourth position. As the riders make their way round the green flag lap, this is how the grid will be looking. So Kyle Payne will be starting on pole position on bike number 25, 28 points behind the championship leader Harrison Crosby, who starts alongside him. Josh Bannister is next up, your former championship leader, ahead of Lucas Brown on row number 2. Sullivan Moundsey on bike 144 will be in row number 3, ahead of Ryan Hitchcock, who's sitting second in the standings. Ronnie Harris is next up on row number 4. Just behind him is the number 61 of Harrison McKay. Carter Brown on bike number 37 follows him on row number 5 in 9th spot. And rounding out the top 10 is Ollie Horner. Ben Jolliffe is just behind him, ahead of the 100 of Cameron Sewell in 12th position. Holly Harris is next up in 13th position on bike number 15. Then it's Finnan Wedity in 14th spot. And rounding out the runners and riders for the start of the Mini GP50 race number 1, it is Jacob Stevenson, and with the wind blowing ever highly here at the Rowrah circuit, we're in sort of a quaddy here, and the riders will be facing a tough challenge to try and stay aboard their machines. So it's a 12 lapper. The marshals pull off the grid, the revs are rising as they look towards the start finish lights, and as they get started, it's a flyer from Kyle Payne on number 25, shooting up towards the first corner. Just slotting in behind him is your championship leader of Harrison Crosby, powering down the straight towards McRae's. It's still Kyle Payne in the lead of this race, ahead of Crosby and Lucas Brown. Bannister makes his way past Sullivan Moundsey into fourth spot. Carter Brown looking up the inside of both of them, nearly tagging the back of Moundsey as they make their way up towards turn number 5 of Iredales. It's still Kyle Payne ahead of Crosby and Lucas Brown. There's a bit of a gap back to the number 2 of Josh Bannister. There's a bit of bumping and boarding further back. Carter Brown looking alongside him towards the white bike, and the white bike of the number 66. Ronnie Harris powers past him and into 6th position. Harrison McKay looking up the inside of Carter Brown as they go through the kink down towards St John's, but not making the move stick just yet. Completing lap number 1 of this MiniGP 50 race, it's Kyle Payne ahead of Crosby, ahead of Lucas Brown. Then it's Josh Bannister ahead of Sullivan Moundsey, rounding out the top 5 at the moment, as the riders make their way cleanly out of the first hairpin on the circuit, all the way up the straight end to Iredales. As close as you like between Payne, Crosby and Brown. But as the riders make their way down towards the Stuart S's, not so much of an S's this weekend, we use it as a double right-hander here at the Rowrah circuit. And down the straight, powering down the hill towards St John's, a bit of a gap's opening up between Kyle Payne and Harrison Crosby. Crosby has got Lucas Brown all over the back of him, running over the curb goes Lucas Brown as he comes out of Sunny Bend, the penultimate corner on the track, as they flick from left to right, and across the line to complete lap number 2 is still Payne from Crosby from Lucas Brown. Further back behind them, it's Josh Bannister's coming under increasing pressure from Sullivan Moundsey and Ronnie Harris, who's trying to snatch 4th position if he can. The weather's looking absolutely glorious here today. It's a bit windy out on circuit, but the sun is shining and definitely heating up the track on the Rowrah circuit. But there's a move for second. That is Brown up the inside of Harrison Crosby into Iredales. There's a late braking manoeuvre. Can Crosby make the move stick down towards Stuart S's? No, he can't. It's still Payne from Brown. Crosby is now back to 3rd place, but looking around the outside of Payne, up the outside in towards Sunny Bend, nearly tagging the back of Kyle Payne, of Lucas Brown. Luckily, both stay on that one. That was very close stuff between Payne and Crosby. So Crosby is nearly losing his championship lead if he went down in that scuffle between himself and Lucas Brown. So Lucas Brown now trying to make the charge up to your race leader Kyle Payne. Kyle Payne has been on superb form so far this weekend. Pole position and fastest in most of the practice sessions over the course of Friday in the damp and the dry conditions. And already Lucas Brown has gapped Harrison Crosby, so he's definitely looking to make a move on your race leader of Kyle Payne. Further back, Josh Bannister still holding off 4th position from Harris and Moundsey, and further back behind them there's a great scrap going on between Ollie Horner, Ben Jolliffe and Carter Brown. Carter Brown made an epic start, but has dropped back a couple of positions as the race has gone on, completing lap number 5, and the gap is stabilised at the front of the field between Payne and Brown. Can Brown do anything about your race leader? And there's a change for 4th. That is Moundsey up the inside of Josh Bannister. Josh Bannister trying to make the move back up the inside of Moundsey up towards the turn 1 chicane. Not making the move stick yet, but can he get the drive down towards McRae's? He can do, but he's not close enough on the brakes just at the moment. Sylvain Moundsey having an absolutely brilliant race so far in the MiniGP 50s race number 1. But Josh Bannister, something falling off his bike. He's slowing up. What's happened to his bike here? Josh Bannister, his chain has come off. That is unfortunate for the number 2 of Josh Bannister. He was leading the championship going in to Wilton Mill and increased the championship lead coming out of race number 1 at Wilton Mill, but had a bit of an injury in the paddock on Saturday night, so he couldn't increase his championship lead, missed both races, and he's dropped down to 3rd in the standings, and he's going to drop even further back, unfortunately, there for Josh Bannister. That's unfortunate stuff there. This circuit here at Rowrah with its very big curbs is really unsettling the chains on these mini bikes, these MetroKit bikes, and Josh Bannister is the unfortunate victim of that. McKay looking up the inside of Carter Brown. Carter Brown running a little bit wide over the curb as he comes out of McRae's turn number 4, bouncing over the curbs as he just misses the grass, kind of looking over his shoulder to see that McKay is just behind him. Through Iredale's to go, powering down the straight, the longest straight on this racetrack, down towards the tight right-hander of Stewart, usually known as Stuart Esses, but as I said a little bit earlier on, there is no Esses here today. Carter Brown running wide over the curves, and that gives Harrison McKay an opportunity to gain a place, and he's now up to 6th spot. The number 61 is having a very strong race here today at... We've got a crasher. That's your championship leader. That's Harrison Crosby. He is down at Sunny Bend, the penultimate corner on the track. Not sure what happened there. Not sure if he clipped a curb or just pushing too hard out of 3rd spot. Will he pull into the pits? No, he won't. He's continuing on, but he's dropped down the order, plummeted down the order, and as he comes across the line, we will see where he is. He is dropped down outside the top 10, so that is unfortunate there for your championship leader, possibly pushing a little bit too hard. He had a stable gap in the championship, so he's going to be wanting to move up the order a little bit and try and gain as many points as he can in this race. This has just turned into damage limitation for the number 69, Harrison Crosby, your championship leader. Further back behind him is the number 11 of... Well, we don't have the number 11 unfortunately, but we've got a monster Yamaha replica bike looking very smart out there on the circuit, of course in front of the number 66 of Ronnie Harris. So Ronnie Harris, after a great start, has dropped back down the field ever so slightly, the one on the white bike, and just behind the green and the blue and monster bike, the MetroKit. They're both just behind your championship leader of Harrison Crosby. Powering across the line, nearly a move for a position change there, and it's not Ronnie Harris that we've got further down there, it's Finn Whitey. So we're having a lot of changes for positions further back in this Mini GP50 race number 1 here from the Rowrah circuit. And it's not just the battle for first we're looking for, it's all the battles all the way down the field. And I will get that rider right eventually. That's a 1-4-6 on this Mini GP50 race number 1. So there's only a few laps remaining, and we've still got Kyle Payne leading the way ahead of the number 29 of Lucas Brown. Lucas Brown trying to get as many podiums and wins as he possibly can, sitting very comfortably in 5th position in the championship, miles behind the top 4, but this is all about race wins and podiums for the rest of the season. For someone that has been strong all season long but a little bit inconsistent, had a few race wins, had a few podiums, but not doing so well in terms of consistency. Ryan Hitchcock has been having trouble all weekend, and he looks over his shoulder and sees the number 70 just behind him of Ollie Horner. So once again, he looks over his shoulder coming out of Stewart, and powering down the hill towards St. John's. Ollie Horner up the inside. Has he done it? Yes, he has. He's passed Ryan Hitchcock, but Ryan Hitchcock trying to come back at the number 70 of Ollie Horner. And just behind them, a few places further behind them, is your championship leader of Harrison Crosby. So Hitchcock would be looking to try and gain as many positions as possible in this race to try and gain back up on your championship leader Harrison Crosby. But so far, with the issues he has had so far this weekend, lots of bike issues, he is struggling down the order. Well inside the top 10, but just outside the top 5 for the moment. So Hitchcock did manage to get ahead of the 70 of Ollie Horner. Just behind them is the 100 of Cameron Sewell. Cameron Sewell gaining in confidence with every passing round. Up the inside into Stewart's one audacious move from Ollie Horner. Can Hitchcock get a switch back? No, he can't. So that just came out of nowhere. Surprised myself and Hitchcock at the same time. A lot of speed in the straight line from the 70 of Ollie Horner on the blue and yellow machine, and he runs a little bit wide coming out of Sunny Bend, the penultimate corner. Hitchcock back up the inside into the final turn. He's done it. What a move there from Ryan Hitchcock. He's shaking his head, bouncing his head up and down. He looked very happy with that move indeed. Through the chicane he goes, and he's now powering away from the 70 of Ollie Horner. This 12 lap race is turning into a bit of a drama fest, and of course a little bit of a race fest as well. So it's a great race here coming from the top 10 and further outside of the top 5. Now that move has just given Cameron Sewell an opportunity to climb onto the back of the 70 of Ollie Horner. So with these three racing very hard indeed, then anything can happen. But back at the front, we still have Kyle Payne cementing his lead in this race ahead of Lucas Brown. Just behind them is Samuel Munson. So Samuel Munson, sorry about that, Sullivan Mounsey is having a fantastic race in third spot, scoring a podium position if he stays on the bike as it is at the moment. But anything can happen in the MiniGP 50s, and it usually does. This has been a season of ups and downs. The championship has been yo-yoing back and forth between Bannister, Crosby, Hitchcock. The three have all been taking championship lead and race wins, and now with this race at hand at the moment, Kyle Payne is definitely coming into the mix. And sitting at the side of the circuit was your former championship leader Josh Bannister on the side of the circuit on the straight down towards Stewart. But coming across the line, Sullivan Mounsey on number 144 is just ahead of the number 66 of Ronnie Harris. But the race is over, and we have Kyle Payne taking your race win ahead of Lucas Brown. So Kyle Payne is closing up towards your championship leader, and in second spot was Lucas Brown. Sullivan Mounsey picking up a brilliant third position, a podium position there for the 144. Just behind them was Ronnie Harris, and Ryan Hitchcock will be looking to pick up a top 5. But as the top 5 come across the line, your championship leader Harrison Crosby finishing down in 6th position in this race. That is only 6 points for Harrison Crosby, your championship leader, and 25 points for the number 25 of Kyle Payne. Started this race off 28 points further behind your championship leader, and he's absolutely ecstatic with that race win. And why not? Because he knows that is a very important race win, with only 5 more races to go after this race. 2 today and 3 at Tattershall in 4 weeks time. He has got a great opportunity to try and take this MiniGP 50 2019 championship. All the riders showing great sportsmanship, congratulating each other, giving each other a thumbs up as they make their way back into the holding area. But it's your man, number 25, Kyle Payne, who picks up the race win a few seconds ahead of the 29 of Lucas Brown. And running out your podium positions for the MiniGP 50 race number 1 here from Rowrah, it was Sullivan Mounsey.